Hello. Good morning. How are you? It's August 17th, 2026. It's a Monday. It's a nice day. It's a nice day. I gave up on being a stubborn mule and just finally Googled, why does my tomato sauce taste like metal? It's a simple Google search. Couple of things. One, cooking it in a metal pan, which I knew. The acidity in the tomatoes will make the metal sort of leach, or at least the flavor. Um, so, but last summer when I made it, I cooked it in the lodge, which is an enameled lodge. And so it shouldn't have tasted that way, right? And so I looked it up, and it could be poor quality tomatoes is the answer I got back. Once they're peeled and seeded, and so there are a couple of different ways that I can fix that, either with some baking soda or some sugar or some fat. And I also needed to figure out, so that I'm not giving out horribly wrong information, that I cannot water bath sauce that has olive oil in it, the fats in it, that won't probably pressure can it, but I didn't look it up because I'd rather just water bath it. So I'll just sans olive oil, right? And low and slow. Not if you high heat can cause that flavor too. So I might have cooked it too hot. Yeah, I'm not sure. But so I'm going to take another swing at it. My dog's all squirrely. I don't know why. What else? Oh, I also figured out how to finally, while I was Googling, I thought, what else is on my mind? What else do I want to learn how to do? Turning on closed captions on my videos. I've managed to do it on the last few that I've uploaded. 9 times out of 10, I do it directly from my device, and the options for closed captioning aren't there. I have to go into a web browser. I don't know if I can use the web browser like on my device. I've had to go in on my PC and change it that way, but that's really handy. I really appreciate that. There are other gardeners that I follow around the world, and a few that follow me back. And there's one gentleman in particular who's in Turkey, and I don't speak Turkish, but he uses closed captioning and I can auto translate. So we have been watching shows on closed captioning for, oh heck man, forever. My youngest started watching TV with closed captions probably like 4th grade. All of them, all of them, like Jurassic Park, or just, an American movie that's English speaking. But so my kid calls it glasses for your ears. It's really helpful because also we watch a lot of shows from everywhere else, and sometimes even in English. We speak with an American standard English accent, and so there's a UK English, there's Irish English, there's Australian, New Zealand, or you know what I mean, like different turns of phrases and pacing and timing. And so a lot of times, what I mean, especially some of the folks in the UK, they can speak with a considerable clip, and I don't always catch what they're saying, right? So it's easier to read. I really appreciate that. So I figured it out, I guess is what I'm saying, and I'm fairly proud of that. But I suppose I'll probably post this one and then I'll have to go back. So it'll be a few minutes, or, some time before I get in there and actually set the language and ask for auto-generated closed captions. I was taking it for granted, because they'll happen on a short. I can just generate captions. And I assumed that it was just, so I kept wondering, like, is my channel not big enough? Have I not, have I not been around long enough? Is it a thing? Does the videos have to sit out there over time? No, I have to turn that on. So I figured it out. I'm pretty proud of that. Yeah, so I'm gonna make some tomato sauce and try and get it right. I have enough tomatoes on the long counter. I've got more than enough, and I need to do something with them. So probably get up to that today. But just like a regular human, my kitchen is not in pristine condition 24/7. So, you know, if I were to be really honest and genuine and authentic, right? Like I would turn the camera on while there is still a grease pan, or the counter has crumbs on it or something, and because that's normal, that's real life. Just having to clean up a kitchen, right? So anyway, I got to do that first. My partner baked up a cake this weekend. Oh my gosh, I've missed the cake. He makes a chocolate cake. We both do. I'm the one who started making it, and then this was a couple of years ago, started baking a cake from scratch with cocoa and butter and anyway, flour and sugar, right? From scratch. There's no box in that recipe, no box mix, right? So anyway, he ended up committing it to memory because he's good that way, and will usually fix up a cake about once a week. And when I say we go by a 9 by 13 chocolate cake a week, I'm not exaggerating. So it's good carbs. It's good. Sugar isn't by itself isn't bad for us. It's just, when processed foods is just pumped full of sugar and then pumped full of like corn syrup kind of sugar. I don't know. I think the body just doesn't metabolize it in the same way as like whole food, made yourself. Plus, I think when you're taking the extra time to make it yourself, you expend calories doing it, So, I don't know. It's just nicer, too. I don't know. Better for you. It's better for you. We don't have stuff in our regular kitchen cabinets like we human beings, the regular pedestrian, right? Like we don't put all the extra stuff in our food when we make it, like a commercial food. I don't even want to call it a producer because they're just sourcing materials and packaging it and then putting it on the shelf for you to ingest. So, yeah, what do we call that? Like a big food company, right? And they'll dump it full of additives and preservatives to give it a shelf life so it lasts longer on the shelves, and then also to make it more palatable, maybe through flavoring or texture, or like xanthan gum is a good example of that. I don't have that stuff in my cupboard, right? And so we can avoid that stuff, which I just don't think is all that good for people, once in a while, but every day is probably not a good idea. So, and it's cheaper. It's exponentially cheaper. A bag of cocoa nowadays isn't that inexpensive anymore, though. I mean, cocoa was never really like super cheap in the first place, but it's gotten worse, right? Just, imposed tariffs and all that other stupid shit. So, anyway, and time. It takes time. We haven't been baking a cake in the last couple of months because it's been 105 degrees outside. Our electric bill shot up $90, which is probably a lot less than a lot of other people. In a weird way, we're kind of insulated up here from a lot of stuff. We're not completely, we don't escape it entirely, but gas right now is $3.99. A pound of hamburger is $5.99 for like the cheaper, like 80/20. It's not, it'd be better if it was about an 85/15. I don't mind a little fat in hamburger. It's not, fat all by itself isn't necessarily bad for a person. It's just the amount, you need a little bit of it to stave off pneumonia in January, right? Don't want to When I have none of it, your brain needs it to function properly. But just not fake, overly processed stuff. That's just not good for the body. Anyway, I don't need to bang on about food. It's difficult to live that way. You know what I mean? The average everyday pedestrian doesn't always have that kind of time on hand, or the resources, or the, you know. That was one thing I realized though, when our cupboards were bare. Like, I had a bag of flour and I had a bag of sugar. I didn't have any eggs. So, like, cooking up something, baking up something. But generally, 9 times out of 10, I have enough stuff on hand that I could just make it up. You know, except for French fries. My oldest and I have had a conversation about French fries. He's like, that's the one thing I would go to a store to pay for. And I'm like, but it's such a, like, a cheap, you know, when we think of like healthful eating, we don't think of French fries. But they're really hard to make, you know, on your own. Like, first off, you have to get a hold of potatoes. You have to get a hold of probably a longer, slender potato, the way that they're grown specifically to make French fries. And then the cutting them and the process to sort of make them the texture, you know, like the deep frying that we're all accustomed to and we would prefer. So, okay, I said, I conceded. I guess if I wanted French fries, I would go buy them from a place that makes them, you know. We use an oven and a sheet pan, and we buy frozen, right? So, because making French fries is time intensive from scratch, from a potato. You gotta have all kinds of time on your hands. Just, anyway. Yeah, that's just a meandering conversation over here. Went for a walk yesterday. Went on oh, there's a moth over here. He's hiding out in the shade. I put the umbrella up and he was sleeping under there overnight, and I scooched him out of there. So now he's looking for shade. A dark place to hide, you know. Anyway, went for a walk. It was nice. It was only about 3.5 miles, which is fine. Like, only. That's plenty, right? You know, the nice thing about going out for a walk is like that, like a nature trail, or even, shit, man, even just a walk around the neighborhood. It doesn't have to be this hard slog in order to be beneficial, right? It doesn't. You could go at a slow pace. You could, you know, and I don't mean like physical well-being. I mean your mental well-being. You know, it doesn't take long. It's not like you have to do it every day. You get out once a week, 20 minutes can do wonders. Kind of reset your brain, you know. Put the screen down. We passed by 2 dudes. One guy was on like a bike with fat tires, because we're walking on like a dirt path, and he was biking the loop several times. He lapped us. Like, he passed us and then went all the way around, and then he was coming back at it because he's on a bike, right? So he goes faster. But the entire time, he had a screen mounted, and he was talking, not like he was making a live stream or anything like that, but like he's doing business, you know. Get a hold of so-and-so, do the thing, sell the thing, buy the thing. It was a beautiful Sunday day, you know. And then another guy came. He was walking with another person. So, you know, you're here to enjoy the walk with your person, and he's on the phone the whole time talking business. I don't know. Just feel like every now and again we should be allowed to disconnect. We don't need to work 24/7. You know, my hubs works for himself, but he's got a pretty hard rule, man. Sometimes his phone will ring at like 8 or 9 at night, and he's like, no, there's no reason for you to be calling me at this time of day. You know, and generally people like, hey, I'm sorry, man. Not sorry enough. Like, why are you calling me? You're not that sorry. What do you need that couldn't have waited until tomorrow morning at 7? His phone will ring at 7 in the morning all the time, and he doesn't, because that's usually, he's getting up, he leaves early and gets moving, you know. So I don't know, if you can't get your answers inside of that 12-hour window from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., well, you know, you gotta wait, man. It'll wait. One thing I learned the hard way is that the work will wait and you'll probably never get through it. Like if you stay at work until midnight and you're working, 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 what? For what? Benefit, right? The work will be there tomorrow. And there will be more work after that, you know. Ugh. Yeah. So, tomatoes and walks. It's about what I'm doing. I'm trying to cling on to summer because August is going by really fast, right? Like really, really fast. And our overnight lows will drop in September. I mean, they can. We could have an early, what would be considered early, but it's pretty common. And like an early frost is what I mean. Which is no good for crops. I caught a story. The farmers out here are cutting their corn down early because of the drought. It's been so dry that it's just not, it's drying up. And then because the plants are weak, their spider mites are invading or infesting, and it's really hard to keep pests at bay when the plants are weak and not robust enough to be able to handle a disease. It's a vector for disease when things are weak. Yeah, and then I suppose in the Corn Belt, a little south and east of us, there's been derecho, how do we pronounce that word? Winds, just straight line winds that are 80, 90 miles an hour, and it blew it all over, flattened it. So, and I know the durum wheat this year this is why I'm a little anxious about bread and pasta prices, because the durum didn't do well, and that's what we make pasta out of. And pasta is relatively inexpensive, so it will go up. Beef prices are going to get more expensive than they already are. There was the Tyson Foods plants that have been closing down, about 3 of them now, beef processing plants, and they're saying that it's because of low volume. I mean, number one, the drought's been so bad, so if people were grazing their herd out on a prairie, there's not much left to eat, and feed is very expensive. And then my hubs brought up a really good point. The chances are it's got nothing to do with supply levels. I mean, it does. There was some cattle that died off from the heat this year too, and they're underweight because the feeding is very expensive. And so, you have cattle ranchers that are, I don't know, not going to do too hot. You know what I mean? And so, where am I going with it? Oh, my hubs made the comment. He's like, they're just going to ship the cows overseas to a cheaper plant that doesn't have union workers and, workman's comp and taxes to pay. It's got nothing to do with low volume. Jesus, they're not that low. It's like not like there aren't any cows left in the U.S. to process. There are. They're just gonna ship them off to somewhere cheaper and then bring it back and sell it to us all at a, the price they would have anyway out of a U.S. manufacturing plant, right? It's not like they're gonna, just because it's cheaper for them to process it doesn't mean they're gonna sell it to us at a cheaper rate. They're gonna take that as a profit and put it in their pocket. So, I don't know if you happen to know anybody and you have some freezer storage. We know some folks, right? Like we could buy a half a cow, a half a beef, or a quarter beef is a little more manageable, and there's only 3 of us here in the house, so I don't need like a whole damn cow and then find a freezer storage for that cow. So you find a couple of members in your family to split a cow with. Usually it's processed and then you just get the package. You can have it. I want, 40 pounds of burger or something and so many steaks or you know, man, we had breakfast yesterday morning. I mean, not morning. I think it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's Sunday, and I don't know. Brunch is kind of the, like a mid-afternoon breakfast meal is always the on the menu, So anyway, we had some elk bacon. I mean, when I tell you I could have eaten the entire package, oh, it was so good. It looked more like a fruit leather in consistency, like a spam almost, but it's not. It's elk, and there's mixed in with some stuff. We don't hunt ourselves, but we know a lot of people who do. We have. We just don't need to. You know what I mean? Not yet. Not yet. So, fishing is easier. Yeah, we haven't done that in a minute either. We used to take the kids when they were little, and mostly kind of catch and release. They're little fingerlings when the kids are little, or bullheads, or junk fish that you just catch and you throw back. Bluegill, they're good to eat, but they're small, and so I don't know, just throw them back. But yeah, anyway, the elk, that's good meat, man. It's really good. So trade a lot. Actually, that batch came to us from a homeowner my husband was doing work for. He's a Finnish carpenter. If I don't know, anybody was curious and didn't know what he does. He makes very expensive homes look very much more expensive. That's what he does. Yeah. And we'll never be able to afford that kind of house. That's fine. We don't need it either. It's a lot of empty space overhead. Those vaulted ceilings. It costs a lot of money to heat that empty space or cool it down. I don't know. You hear about those people who in like the UK who own a castle. They can't maintain it because they can't afford to heat the whole place. They can't afford to keep it up. Like all the maintenance and the heating of the place is very expensive. It's cost prohibitive. So they shut down like most of the building and live in just, one little spot. But, if you don't have a bunch of serfs living on the ground producing all of your revenue for you, then that's what happens. You can't afford it. Anyway, kind of a side ramble. So yeah, I'm going to get up to something today. Got to take my youngest out to drive. The kid is basically got it down and just needs a wingman, and it's a lot of fun and would like to go drive around. But of course, I've been doing it for 40 years, so, yay, we're driving. But I need to go out and do that with him. So, and we're probably about there. The kid could test and pass. We can move on. So, anyway, I hope your day is well. I hope everything's well. Hope you're hanging in there. We're gonna make it through it. So, yeah. You have a good day.